Uncensored. I am your host, Carolyn. And if you're looking for a show that talks about everything from reality TV to money to relationships, just everything, just life, then you're at the right station. But before we get into the show, let's handle the business. Everything that I say on this show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. That is it. So do whatever you want to with the information that you receive. Okay? Let's get into the show tonight. Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Donald Trump. He's been having a time in and out these courts. In and out courts in New York, in Georgia. He's just been having a time. Well, today, one of his cases settled. New York filed the case, a civil lawsuit. It was civil against Donald Trump. Basically, they were stating that a lot of the business that he was basically doing in the state was based on loans and money he got from banks because he inflated his wealth. Now, we all know Donald Trump is a real estate mogul. That's what he does, right? Donald Trump does not prepare anybody, not even his own, financial statements. So I'm like, where's the accountant? Now, we all know at the end of the day, when it comes to who's on the hook, it's going to be Donald Trump because he had to review any documents or someone had to review these documents with his approval. So he was aware of what was going on. He had to be. So I know that he doesn't prepare any balance sheet, any statements of owners' equities. He doesn't prepare any profit and loss statements. He doesn't depreciate any assets. He doesn't prepare any of the major financial statements. Put it this way, he don't prepare any financial statements. So my thing is, who is the accountant? Because if this information was provided to the banks on his behalf, and I'm sure he knew about it, then there should be some sort of criminal liability in there somewhere. Now, I'm sure something might follow. I don't know, but someone is on the hook because when investors, let's put it this way, we all know that he's filed for bankruptcy before, right? I think more than once. And when investors invest in banks and banks loan money, they're not giving it to any and everybody off the street. They're going to look at your credit, your ability to pay, your assets and all of that, right? So they will tell you, no, I'm sorry, we can't help you if your assets and stuff are not in the right percentages that they look for certain type loans. And normally he was probably getting investor loans, and those are higher risk loans, right? So when he filed for bankruptcy and didn't pay and certain things of that nature, then that means that these investors lost a lot of money. And some of these investors could have been government backed loans, all different type things. So the state of New York, for their reasons, they brought a civil case against him. It was a civil fraud case. And like I said, it was based on his inflated financials. Well, the judge in his case was Judge Arthur Engoron. Judge Arthur Engoron. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's going to be the one, well, he was the one presiding over Donald Trump's civil fraud trial. He's an independent. Most people say he's thoughtful, somewhat quirky, and he's been a jurist who has served for 20 years in the New York City Civil and Supreme Court, State Supreme Court. The judge is 74 years old. He was a cabbie. He drove a taxi. Can you believe that? And he seemed like he would be a very open-minded judge. I don't know if this is necessarily the type of judge that Donald Trump would want because that could go both ways, right? But that is the judge that presided over his civil fraud case. Judge Engoron fined and ordered Donald Trump to pay, well, at the end of the day, when everything, all the interest and penalties come down to it, it's going to be over the $355 million that he's been ordered. So by every time everything add up, it's going to be a whole lot of money. Now, we know most of Donald Trump's wealth kind of sits in his real estate because he's a real estate investor. That's what he does. He has the Trump Towers, all these different things. Investment loans are very difficult loans to get. You have to be strong financially because most banks and investors feel you're willing to walk away from investment loans. So if he presented false documents to them and the investors loan money based on what he presented and some defaulted, then those investors lost money and their monies were invested on by the banks for Donald Trump's ventures based on false information. And there's some sort of criminal liability in it, even though this was a civil trial. Well, my biggest thing is I think it's a lot more to be heard in this. A lot more to be heard because I don't think Donald Trump is going to come up with all that money. Well, the judge has ordered him to come up with the money or a secured bond within 30 days from his judgment date. So, let me explain a little bit of a secured bond. Basically, it's a debt instrument and it's backed by assets owned by the insurer, which would be Donald Trump. So he would more than likely put up one of his investment properties. And most people that loan, that kind of get behind those type of bonds are corporations, government agencies, municipalities. They are normally the ones that commonly issue those type bonds. But in the event the issuer, which is Donald Trump, defaults on his terms of the bond, okay, then the bondholders are going to have first claim to the asset, which would be whatever properties he put up, or he can come up with the money. Either one. If he don't come up with the secured bond, then he can come up with the money. 355 million is a lot of money. Well, over 355 million, really, once all the interest and penalties are added on. Like for the everyday person, like we have, say you have a mortgage on your house, where our mortgage is secured by the mortgage payments and everything that you pay, right? The mortgage is broken up into interest and the principal. So that is what's securing your debt. So if you default on your payments, then they can come after the title and thus the house and then resell it in a foreclosure, type setup. That's kind of like similar to the secured bond. Your house is secured by the title. When other people like a Donald Trump, he'll secure his by one of his real estate assets. And then if he defaults, then they'll come and get that up. And then the bondholders will be able to recover once they sell it or whatever. Once it's sold, should I say, then they'll get first right to payment. And once they are paid out, then the people who back that bond will get whatever. So it's really sticky, I know what I know of Donald Trump. Of course, I don't know Donald Trump. I am almost positive he's going to appeal his verdict. I'm sure he's going to appeal it. That's just what I would do. It's crazy. He went for a non-jury trial, which means that the judge Engoron had the sole decision in making a decision on whether he was going to, find him guilty or innocent, how much he was going to be responsible for paying back. The judge told him. He went for a non-jury trial. He felt that would be his best bet. Well, his attorney, which her name is Elena Haba, she basically was upset with the judge and she slammed him. And she said, but this was a political type of grudge, that they had these plans to come in and take Donald Trump down. So his attorney felt like this is personal. This has nothing to do with all of this stuff. But my biggest thing is that whether it was something personal going on or whatnot, if he indeed provide these banks with information that he should not have false statements and they made financial decisions based on the information that Donald Trump provided them, then that's criminal. You can't go through life with your own set of rules. Donald Trump feel like he had his own. Allegedly, in my little opinion, he feel like there are our rules and then the rules that Donald Trump goes by. Most people with a lot of money, they do have other options where the average person does not have. But she feels as if, this is something personal that they're going after him. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about all of it. All I do know is that they were unhappy with the decision that he was decided that he could go and he could provide fake information and false information to the banks and he could get money. I mean, I couldn't do nothing like that. I'd put in jail. On the jail behind doing stuff like that, wire fraud and all that stuff. You know, I don't know. I personally feel that Donald Trump probably feel like he hate the day he went into political office. You know what? Maybe not, but he should. Because my biggest thing that people who are entrepreneurs, or run businesses, or for instance, we're gonna say like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was what was he? An actor, a wrestler. Then he became the governor of California from 2003 to 2011, and then he had a child, I think, with his the help the maid, the housekeeper. He had a child with that person. Now he knew, he probably wasn't thinking, but a lot of that stuff came up. They go after everything when you step into the political sector. I mean, you're in that area, they come up with everything. So to me, if you're not clean, stay in your lane. Jesse Ventura, he was a former wrestler. He became the governor of Minnesota. Now, I don't know anything about what he did. I don't know. But I do know he was a wrestler. My biggest thing, and I don't think they should have been they should let all these people who are wrestlers and all these people enter political. Political is, to me, it's a big thing. And they should not be going into politics. They need to stay and do what they do. My biggest thing, because you know anything that you do or anything that you have done, they gonna be finding everything out. Everything out. I don't know if that was the. I mean, I know it was all about ego. I can be president. I want to be president. This is like the highest power in the U.S. I want some of it. But was it really, really worth it? When I look at different videos and things and pictures, things of this nature, he's looking stressed now. Now, one time he was looking very astute and like rolling stuff off his back. But when I see, let me show you a few pictures of Donald Trump. Let me show you a few right now. Do you see what I'm saying? He's looking a little worn now. And I just don't feel that going into politics was the best thing. I know it was maybe a good thing, but it was not a great thing. It wasn't the best thing. So I don't know. I don't wish all this craziness on nobody, but you cannot be presenting information and you still cannot do all this thing. Now I feel like if you know, he could do it all again, he probably would do something different. I guess. I don't know, because I know he liked the ego thing. So he may have still gone for it because he's still trying to run for president now. You go figure. With everything that went on with this presidency, I would be staying far away from it. But that's Donald Trump, and then this Carolyn. I would not be doing it. So anyway, I don't know Donald Trump. Just like Donald Trump, the district attorney, Fani Willis for Atlanta. You know, she was accusing him, and she brought him to the mat, and they filed a case against him. And this is a criminal case for tampering with the election in Georgia. You know, it was said that he was responsible for a lot of the things that was going on during the election, trying to coerce people to throw out votes, accusing people of doing a lot of things they should not have done. And so now he's dealing with Georgia, and that's in the state of Georgia. Well, Fani Willis, Donald Trump's people are trying to get her removed. Fani is the district attorney that's over the election for Donald Trump. Okay. And they're bringing his attorney, the attorney that's been hired, that's representing Donald Trump, is trying to get her removed from his case. The reason for that is because she was involved with a man by the name of Nathan Wade. Now, Nathan Wade is a special prosecutor that Miss Fani hired, and they had a relationship, and it's come out. Like I said, when you get into the politics of things, everything start coming out. Well, when she decided to go after Donald Trump, she decided to let all her business be known too, because his people were gonna go for the jugular. Hmm. And that's what they're doing. So they basically saying that they were messing around. They became involved intimately. Honey, they was talking to her and asking her all sorts of questions, and she was not having it, and she was just so irritated. My biggest thing, that has nothing to do with Donald Trump and his influence over the election. That is illegal. You cannot do that. But the angle that Donald Trump's attorney is taking, they want her removed. And put it this way, if Fani is removed, then all the attorneys in her office, in the DA's office, have to be removed. So if the judge says, Fani, you and Nathan were involved and you hired him. I think they are saying that she hired him after she filed charges, right? And I guess I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know he's part of the whole Donald Trump, part of her team, and one of the attorneys that's there to kind of manage the whole case or whatever, while it's going through the process, right, with Donald Trump, and he gets paid for this. And they're saying that she doesn't have white hands. They're saying that she's trying to prolong this and do all of this because she's trying to make money for Nathan. Now, I must say, that's creative, because Miss Fani is a pit bull, and she coming hard for Donald Trump. Now, does she have a right to? I feel like there's some truth in what she's saying. I personally do. That's my opinion. This election fraud case should never have went this way. I have never heard of anything that happened with the state that happened to this magnitude than when Donald Trump was running for office. So, she coming if she's not removed. His people are saying she's benefiting from this case going the way that it's going and keeping it prolonged. So her man, basically, I'm going to keep it layman's terms, her man can make some money. And the money that her man is making, he's spending some on her because I believe he's getting divorced. And there were some documents presented during his divorce trial, honey. And guess what they found in the documents? There was a credit card receipt that showed that he paid for a trip from to Miami that him and Miss Willis took. Yes, they took a trip to Miami, and it was on his divorce documents. Come on, Fani. So they going after her, but she was trying to hold her on. She's saying that she's not going to go to a second date of basically interrogation. She's not going back for them to question her because she says she's not on trial. Donald Trump is, and they're trying to make it about her. Well, this is the thing. Like I said earlier, if that judge says that your hands are not clean, you have other reasons other than to represent the state of Georgia, which is supposed to be her job now as the DA. Georgia has a law that basically says if the DA is removed, then all the attorneys in her office must be removed. This is going to cause a delay. Now think about it. Good move, right? Can't hate the hustler, hate the game. So good move. Because if they move her and Mr. Wade off the trial, off her case. Off her case. If they remove Fani and Nathan off of the case, that's gonna cause a delay. If it causes a delay, it's gonna cause a long delay because then they're gonna have to get another prosecutor, and he'll be considered a special prosecutor because he's not the DA to handle this case. Now, if a special prosecutor comes in and handle this case, and that prosecutor would be selected by state government, right? And this is the rule. This is the law. If she's removed, state government will select a special prosecutor, right? If that happens, they gonna have to go into that case from the very beginning and look at things with clean hands, getting X and out. Everything that she said, all the work that she's done will be thrown out the window. Thrown out the window. It would be a waste. Everything would be gone. So if they can remove her, and if she can appeal it, I don't really know how that works. Then he can go ahead. They gonna freeze it, and he can go ahead and start campaigning, do whatever he want to do, so he can try to win the presidency. That's what his goal is. So it's a big deal. If they remove Fani, a special prosecutor will come in and have to reevaluate this case from the beginning, as if none of the work, none of the information that she came up with was ever determined. That new prosecutor can say, I don't think it's enough information. They can say, DA Fani, she don't even exist pertaining to this case. He'll be a special prosecutor, almost like a new DA, but he won't without the title. And they gonna come in, they can throw that case out the window and say, we don't even feel like it should go forward. And I'm sure that's what they're gonna go for. Getting someone in place who could say, but they technically shouldn't have an influence on that. But the new and then you know what? The flip side is they can get a special prosecutor, can be a dog too. So I don't know how that's gonna go. But she will be removed if it shows that she has a conflict of interest in this case. And I don't know, it's up in the air. I don't know why she even crossed over. Why people just can't separate work and business. Why they just can't just keep things separate. She knew she was in a very top position. And she knew that she needed her hands clean. Why you gotta mess with the man? And if you had a relationship with the man, why did you have to bring him on the case? Oh my gosh. I don't think she was thinking clearly. You know, they say about that love thing, them relationship things, they be taking on a whole head of their own. That was just not smart. That's all I can say. I'm just curious to see how this is going to come out. I do not know. But I do know this is a criminal case. And if things go the way that Donald Trump people want it to go, she's going to be out of there. This whole case is this whole election fraud case is going to cease, freeze, and Donald Trump going to be able to go on about his little business, worry about the New York thing, try to get that resolved, and start to run for president like he want to do. Honey, it's crazy. Politics is grimy. I don't even know. That's why certain people do it. You know what I'm saying? Certain people do it. I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy. But moving right on, we just got to stay tuned and see what happens with that. I'm sure they're going to have a decision soon. It may be as soon as next week. I don't know what the judge in the case has to go through before they make that decision, because that's a big decision to remove. But I'm sure it's been done before where DA has been removed. So we're going to see, honey. I don't know, Fani. That was crazy. That was a bad move right there. I don't understand. But we're going to see. Moving right along. YSL. YSL is a rap group here out of the Atlanta area, or Georgia area, let me say, because everything in Atlanta is not Atlanta, but out of the Georgia area. And they are prosecuting him, the main guy, for RICO charges. Yes, for RICO charges. And his attorney, they made it seem like when they was like, YSL defense attorney arrested. Well, it wasn't the main guy in the group. It was actually a co-defendant's attorney. Her name is Nicole Deacon. She's an attorney for Tinquarius Mender, and he's a co-defendant in the YSL RICO conspiracy case. It's being said, allegedly, that she warned a suspect in a totally separate case in 2022. It was a guy on another case she was involved in, not this case, But I guess they were investigating her, and they said that she ended up contacting the suspect in that case where some people were shot, and she contacted one of the guys and told him to get that he had some warrants, and it was imminent that he was going to be arrested. It was imminent that he was going to be arrested. So she told him allegedly to get rid of his phone, to ditch his phone, and they're coming after him because he has warrants. So they had been investigating and looking into that. So she's on this RICO case for one of the co-defendants, right? And they arrested her today in Gwinnett County, and then they transferred her back to Fulton County, where the case was, I guess, everything happened. So she's going back over there to face, I guess, no charges. She should have never done it. And they saying it's street gang activity because that's what I guess they considered the case. One person did not survive the shooting. Another person did survive the shooting. And they were taken to the hospital in like personal vehicles or whatnot. They didn't go transported in an ambulance or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know. The police department released this information today. So when I tell you the news has been hot with the police stuff, attorneys, political, all this stuff, I don't understand. You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. If you are an attorney and you're not that person's attorney, she wasn't even the attorney, Nicole. She wasn't even the attorney for the guy she contacted. I'm trying to figure out where the relationship contact came in. If you were not the attorney for this guy, for real, why did you contact him and tell them to get rid of the gun? Somebody let me know why she did that, if you find out, because I don't know. I didn't find anything as to why. I just found the information stating that she was arrested in Gwinnett, and then they took her back to Fulton where everything happened, and that she was in custody. I don't know why she would do something like that. That is crazy. And then you not his attorney. They be getting them boys to snitch, and not that they be saying they don't snitch. They don't snitch. They be snitching because if they are facing more time and stuff like that, they gonna do anything to bring their charges down. Well, that's probably what happened. And they told her. Now that's alleged. That's alleged. They're gonna have to prove that. They're not gonna just take his word. Criminal who probably was involved in the shooting or something like that, unless somebody got her on recording. Because they record everything these days. Everything is video or audio or both. So I hope they don't have her voice, because I'm sure that's some sort of crime. Telling him to tamper with evidence and contacting the suspect is just crazy. People doing stupid stuff, just stupid. But anyway, I just kind of want to touch on that. I don't do a whole lot of political stuff, but I want to kind of let y'all know from my side what was going on in my opinion. But this Donald Trump of it all, he been going through, and Fani and Nathan. It just is what it is. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back with